Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jerry and Bulldog Nation, I want to give you my quote-unquote 2 cents worth in the Daunte Wright shooting in Minneapolis, Minnesota. First and foremost, I am blown away by the media's lack, and everybody in the country who's on the other side of me politically, how they just completely ignore, it's shown in the video camera, it's shown by the camera from the police officers, that Daunte Wright made a terrible, awful decision. The guy is being handcuffed. He had expired plates. Not a big deal, I guess. We've all had them. But there was also an outstanding arrest warrant for him, which, by the way, all night long I was trying to find out if anybody's reported what the outstanding arrest warrant was for. I didn't see anything yet. I hope by the time this thing airs, maybe we'll know. If a guy is pulled over for a traffic violation and he has an outstanding arrest warrant, you have to arrest him. The guy was being arrested when he broke away. We're supposed to ignore that? Just ignore it? Now, I have handled dozens of police shooting cases, lawsuits, federal court. And I'm blown away that the ones that I handled 10 years ago, some of the facts and circumstances are far worse than these ones that are in the media today. And how the court system and the government's handled them then versus now is totally different. Now it's cha-ching. How much do you want? We can all also agree that her name is Officer Kim Potter. It's tragic. It's wrong. She should lose her job for saying taser, 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 and having a gun in her hand instead of a taser. Hello. You can't have that happen. You just can't. Mistake or not a mistake, a police officer can't confuse a taser with a gun. Really? Even though he had an arrest warrant, even though he had expired plates, Daunte Wright, 20 years old, did not deserve to be shot and killed. He didn't. He was entitled to due process. Trying to escape from an arrest warrant and a traffic stop does not deserve execution. It doesn't. But you know what, folks? I think most Americans would agree with what I'm saying about that. But did we not all agree that Derek Chauvin shouldn't have had his knee on the neck of George Floyd for all that time, even though George Floyd had a long criminal history? George Floyd did not deserve to die. All of America said, hey, that shouldn't have happened. Derek Chauvin acted completely inappropriately. But what happens in all these cases, and it's going to happen with Daunte Wright, is it's not about that. It's about how can Black Lives Matter, Democratic Party, use anarchists, socialists, communists, use these events for their political advantage. It has nothing to do with reality. For example, do you think all those looters, they have looted, cleaned out stores, cleaned them out. All those people that went in those stores and stole and looted, where is the connection between, okay, this happened and this is okay? Everybody acts like it's okay. Violent riots. Not okay. Not okay. It's going to be interesting to see what the arrest warrant was for, just for sake of wondering, was this a bad character or not? Again, the guy didn't deserve to be shot. He deserved due process. And let's talk about due process. Who else deserves due process? Kim Potter deserves due process. The city manager of Brooklyn City, he says they deserve due process. The mayor fires the city manager. The police chief, Tim Gannon, says she deserves due process. Is he going to get fired? All the people that are upset that Daunte Wright was summary executed, which is what it was like, for an outstanding arrest warrant and traffic stop and resisting arrest, they act like, well, he's the only one who gets due process? Aren't you and I, are we in agreement? Everybody's supposed to get due process? I mean, when did we start picking and choosing what Constitution, what Bill of Rights are we going to enforce and use to who? That's what we do now. It's just chaos, complete chaos. From a legal standpoint, too, it makes a difference if it was an accident versus intent. The law protects a police officer from an accident, but it ain't going to make any difference. Cha-ching! George Floyd got $27 million from the liberal city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. That is insanity. What are they going to give this kid? Again, if they defended these cases under the law, they'd win them. But nope, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Minneapolis, Minnesota at least learned the lesson from George Floyd when they let their city be burned down. That didn't happen this time, did it? But you see, what happens is it's like one big enabling of Black Lives Matter. It's like one big enabling of the violence, the rioting, the looting. You let it go on, it's okay. These people say, God, they're not going to do anything to us. And all of those people out there doing all those terrible things have black privilege because, well, can't do anything right now under this environment. Got to let them go. Now, there were 40 arrests. I think that's the last number I checked right before I recorded this. 40 arrests. You know, they'll all be dismissed. They'll all be dismissed. But ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, here is my message today. Daunte Wright was stupid. He broke away from an arrest for an outstanding arrest warrant, and it cost him his life. Didn't deserve to lose his life over it. It's not what I'm saying. But how does everybody just ignore that? Everybody just ignores it. That's what led to his death. And then the other call is easy for Kim Potter. She's entitled to due process. She'll lose. She'll lose her job as career as a police officer. You can't mistake a freaking taser for a gun. Can you? Kind of scary. But all the more that you don't create the environment and the situation where that could happen. I mean, come on. If you're pulled over, if I'm pulled over, what do? You follow the orders of the police. Do you want to do anything that might cause a police officer to pull his taser or gun? Hell no. Hell no. Everybody just wants to ignore that. Everybody wants to ignore it. And you know what, folks? I have tried hundreds of cases to trial, to juries. You know what? A jury, at least in the tri-state, in the Cincinnati area, would not find against that officer for anything because of what Daunte Wright did. Minneapolis, Minnesota, New York City, LA, Miami, I don't know. But in the tri-state, nothing. And then they're talking about criminal charges against this cop? Are you kidding me? She even said, oh shit, I shot him. Taser, taser, taser. You always shout you're using your taser. It was clearly an accident. Terrible one, but clearly an accident. There was no intent. Want to charge her with some type of a negligent crime, so be it. Incredible. This is where we are. And yet, think about it. All across this country, in the past week, there's all these incidents involving a police officer being shot in New Mexico, being shot in New York. All these incidents, media doesn't care about that. Since when did Daunte Wright's life matter more than a police officer's? Doesn't. That's the political circus we live in. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. I got a tip for you. Obey police commands.